There's nothing better than deliberately focusing and paying attention to your personal vibrational frequency. You know you have a vibrational frequency, yes? Yes. You know that it equals your point of attraction. Once you understand that, then your deliberate creation can begin. And until you understand that, then things are just happening and you're observing them and responding to them and compounding the vibrational frequency of them by your observation of them. But you have little control. But once you really understand that you are a vibrational being first and foremost, and that everything that you experience is a byproduct of that frequency, then you're off and rolling into deliberate creating. Also, it's helpful when you realize that you are more than this physical being, this physical you, and this consciousness that is you, this personality, this focuser that is you, this point of attraction that is you, is significant, but only part of who you are. The other part of who you are, who is always focusing with you, to you and through you, is sometimes not allowed by you, only because in this physical body, with this physical thought, in this physical moment, you are choosing a thought and therefore a frequency that may or may not be allowing your realization of that larger part of you. And unless you're realizing it, then as far as you're concerned, it isn't happening. We're going to be talking today. The message that we will be wedging in the crack is about your point of attraction, where you stand, what's going on with you vibrationally, and all that that vibration is therefore allowing here and now. Law of attraction is the reason for momentum. Law of attraction says, that which is likened to itself is drawn. So when you ponder something for as little as 17 seconds, another thought like it comes, joins it. Momentum. And if you stay there for another 17 seconds, the momentum increases. And once you cross the 68-second mark, usually the momentum is significant enough that things in your experience, things in your past, things in your memory, things all around you, things, people, experiences, memories, all kinds of things then begin joining that momentum. And once that momentum gets going, then it's going. It begins gathering up other things like it, you see. We're going to remind you of an analogy that we've offered to you so many times that if you have been listening to us for a while, and we know you have, if you've been listening to us for a while, you've heard it. We hope you like it as much as we do, because it is going to be the cornerstone of the discussion that we have today. Sometimes you say to us something that sounds a bit like, Abraham, wise one that you are. You don't say that, we just threw it in. I have fallen out of an airplane. I have no parachute. What do you suggest that I now do? And we say, with all the loving understanding that we can muster in this brief moment, hang on, it'll be over in a little bit. Because there is a certain momentum that it is not likely you are going to overcome with any kind of action. Well, that's what we want you to realize about the thoughts that you think. The thoughts that you think establish momentum, and law of attraction keeps that momentum going. So sometimes you'll be in the middle of a conversation or in the middle of an experience, and you would like to do something different. You would like to change courses. In fact, often you know so clearly what you don't want that you know very clearly what you do want, but you can't change the momentum In the same way that when you're falling out of an airplane, you can't do much about that either. It's sort of like the action is now not going to be enough to make any difference. Fortunately, the majority of the things that you are experiencing don't fall into that category of falling out of an airplane and bringing you to such an abrupt, momentarily ending. Most of the things that you're experiencing, you can wake up tomorrow and take another run at it. And we really want you to understand that when there is some negative momentum going, that we're going to reach for the perfect word. Everything you try is futile. Because when there is momentum, negative momentum going, the energies are stronger than any action that you might offer. So we are wanting to introduce to you another possibility. And that is, just let that momentum do whatever it will do with as little of your attention given to it as you can. Which means don't try to fix it, because the more you try to fix it, the more you add momentum to the thing that you do not want. Have you noticed that? You say, well, I just want closure. And we say, there isn't any of that. There's just more openger. Well, I just want to get to the bottom of it, you say. Well, there is no bottom. It's a bottomless pit. It's bottomless. In other words, there's no ending to the momentum that will continue to gather when you're focused in the direction of anything. So when you are wise enough to know by the way you feel that you're focused upon something that is in the opposite direction of what you want, do anything and everything that you can to just stop right there and now. Now that is not even a fair thing that we just said to you. We just said stop momentum after telling you that there's momentum that you just can't stop. Well, we mean that there's momentum that you can't stop abruptly. There's momentum you can't stop immediately. In fact, there's momentum that will just peter out as far as you're concerned by your lack of attention to it. Now consider this. Every thought that has ever been thought still exists. And every thought that has ever been thought is at some level still gathering momentum. But whether you continue to play with that thought and whether that thought continues to have an effect upon your life experience is completely up to you, because you can cease your attention on that, and as far as you are concerned, the momentum will then subside. Jesus said, turn the other cheek, and that is exactly what he was talking about. So, what we're suggesting, we've been saying the words to you, get out ahead of the moment, get out ahead of the manifestation, get out ahead of it. And what we mean by that is, from a neutral place, which means when you first wake up, from a neutral place, which means when you're not feeling any strong emotion of any kind, from a neutral place, which often happens after you've meditated and quieted your mind, from a neutral place, that's the best way for you to begin some positive momentum about something when negative momentum has been going. If you've got strong positive momentum going and you're feeling elation or appreciation or love, you never want to stop that momentum, do you? You want to just keep having that love fest. You want to just continue to focus upon what's causing you to feel that way and keep that momentum going. It's only when your emotions are telling you that it's a negative momentum that you've got going on that you want to try to withdraw your attention from it. We just want to help you let yourselves off the hook a little bit by saying, don't expect to withdraw your attention from it all at once. Don't expect every belief that you hold that isn't serving you, like I'm not worthy, or I'm not smart, or I'm not good enough, or I'm not good at this, or I don't understand this, or I can't do this, or someone else is better at than I am. When you find yourself having some of those negative momentum thoughts, don't expect to change those beliefs all at once. But most of all, don't expect to change any of them by addressing the negative belief. Every subject is two subjects, what is wanted and the absence of what is wanted. So if you've got some patterns of thought going, such as, I don't have enough money, and I've never had enough money, and I hardly know anybody that's got enough money, except that guy, and I hate him, he's got plenty of money. He's probably doing something illegal. No, he probably inherited it, which is worse. When you have these thoughts about something, and they've been going on for a while, you just want to let them lay as dormant as you can for a little while. And we want to say, they're not going to be that dormant, but at least now you'll know that you're not wanting to continue to add fuel to the fire by giving more and more attention to it. So, what are we really saying to you with all of this rambling? We'll just put it to you very quickly. Stop focusing upon the things that you call issues or problems, because you're just making them worse. When you have an issue or a problem, when there's someone who's giving you grief, when there's something that's got your attention, and when you think about it, you don't like it, and then you want to talk about it, do your best not to talk about it. Do your best not to think about it. So, that's all we've got for you. Have a nice day. Goodbye. So then you say, okay, I hear you, Abraham, and I'm going to think about that. I'm not going to think about that. I'm not going to think about that thing. I'm not going to think about that thing I'm thinking about. I'm not going to think about it. I'm not going to think about it. I'm not going to think about that. I'm not going to think about it because it doesn't feel good when I think about it. I'm not going to think, I haven't felt good about this when I've thought about it for a really long time. I'm not going to think about it. There's a lot of us that think about this and none of us like it. I'm not going to think about this thing that I'm not going to think about it. What about you? Are you going to think about this thing? I think we should join a group. We'll call it Things We're Not Going to Think About. I'm not going to think about that, and I'm not going to think about that, and I'm not going to think about that. Wait, let me make a list of these things I'm not going to think about. I'm not going to think about that or that or that. Let me prioritize this. This is the thing that I hate the most that I'm not going to think about. I'm not going to think about that anymore. That's the hardest time of my life. I'm not going to think about that anymore. I'm not going to think, oh, you too, huh? Yeah? Yeah? Susie too. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what happens is you just begin to gather momentum. So now imagine you're in San Francisco. You been there? The hills are crazy. And your car is perched on what they believe is a reasonable road. It isn't. At the top of a hill, and the parking brake is not on, and your car is in neutral, and it's just perched right there on the crest of the hill. And so, just for kicks, you bump it from behind just a little bit, and it begins to roll ever so slowly. And then you realize that the potential of it getting away from you is great. So you just step out in front of it and just let it bump up against you. And you're able to stop that momentum because the momentum was so slight. But if you were at the bottom of that hill and your car is rolling down the hill toward you, we don't think this is a very good idea. And you understand that. You understand the momentum of that. So we want to help you to understand that there is a momentum in everything because law of attraction says that there is. Law of attraction is keeping the thought that you're focused upon going. First, there is a thought that you're focused upon. And if you focus upon it long enough, it becomes a really active thought. And if you focus upon it long enough, it becomes so active that it's dominant. And whatever the dominant thoughts are that you have going, that's what your belief system is. They equal your point of attraction. So then you've got this belief system, and much of it serves you. There are a lot of things that you believe that the momentum is really good for you. There are some things that you believe that the momentum is not so good for you. So as life causes you to reach for yet more, that's when the beliefs that do serve you become more evident, because you find yourself appreciating and elating and feeling passionate. And the beliefs that don't serve you come to the forefront, and they feel like negative emotion.